This is Nightline and I'm Norzie. The top stories. Government to cap RON 95 at 2.05 ringgit per litre, diesel at 2.15 ringgit per litre. And government in talks with Pfizer about another 30% of COVID-19 vaccine supply. The government has agreed to set a ceiling price of 2 ringgit 5 cent per litre for RON 95 and 2 ringgit 15 cent per litre for diesel. Finance Minister Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said the price cap was to protect consumers from any possible impact resulting from the rise in global crude oil prices. In a statement on Wednesday, Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul also said that the decision was based on current trends, which saw pump prices rising steadily following higher demand for crude oil, which was influenced by the reopening of various economic sectors around the world. This was also due to the rollout of the COVID-19 vaccination plan that's taking place worldwide, with Malaysia to begin its own national immunisation program at the end of the month. He added that the government will cover the difference between the actual market price and the weekly retail price set through the weekly subsidy allocation. He also pointed out that the ceiling prices for RON 95 and diesel were lower compared with the ceiling prices set by the previous administration in 2019, which were 2 ringgit 8 cent per litre and 2 ringgit 18 cent per litre respectively. In other news, Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul said the government has approved a total of 12.76 billion ringgit of applications for the Wage Subsidy Program, WSP 1.0, as of January 29th. He said that a total of 322,177 employers and 2.64 million employees have received WSP benefits under the Prihatin Rakyat Economic Stimulus Package, or Prihatin, and the National Economic Recovery Plan Penjana.
Di bawah kita prihatin bagi program subsidi upah fasa 2, sejumlah 741.16 juta ringgit telah disalurkan kepada 64,345 majikan untuk terus beroperasi dan mengekalkan penggajian bagi 518,793 pekerja.
Under Budget 2021, targeted WSP was also introduced to assist the tourism and retail sectors, while all sectors affected by the implementation of the Movement Control Order, MCO, this year are eligible to receive WSP 3.0 support under the Permai Assistance Package. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul hoped that the unemployment rate of 4.8% recorded in December 2020 can be reduced in the coming months. This as the National Employment Council, which met for the second time on February 9th, has estimated that more than 160,000 new jobs will be created this year through committed investments. Malaysia is likely to receive an additional 30% of the Comirnaty vaccine from Pfizer-Biontech, which covers 30% of the country's population. Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Adam Baba said his ministry is actively negotiating to get the entire 50% supply of COVID-19 vaccine from the pharmaceutical giant.
Kita sedang giat untuk memastikan bahawa kita akan dapat lagi 20% vaksin Pfizer. Dan kita akan tambah lagi sebanyak 7 juta dos lagi, iaitu menjadikan dia almost 50% lah, 50% coverage. Dan ini masih perlu lagi kita berunding dengan Kementerian Kewangan, dan Kementerian Kewangan telah mengumumkan bahawa allocation sebanyak 3 bilion ringgit untuk pembelian vaksin boleh digunakan. Setakat ini kita hanya belanjakan untuk pembelian daripada Govt facility, Pfizer dan juga AstraZeneca.
He added that ongoing negotiations between the Health Ministry and Pfizer-Biontech could result in the first supply of Comirnaty vaccine to arrive a week early from Perth, Belgium. That's before the start of the first phase of the national COVID-19 immunization plan on February 26. A total of 600 vaccination centres have been identified, with 7 individuals who will be in charge of delivering the vaccine at one location. 120,000 injections are expected to be given in a day. In a similar development, individuals who refuse to receive the vaccine are asked not to promote the anti-vaccine campaign with inaccurate allegations, as this would be in direct violation of the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act 1988, Act 342, jeopardizing the country's efforts to achieve group immunity through the vaccination of 80% of the people with the COVID-19 vaccine. In the meantime, the Health Ministry said on Wednesday that the COVID-19 Assessment Centre CAC service has monitored a total of 60,052 COVID-19 patients since it started operating in stages from January 25th. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah in a statement said to date there are 152 CAC centres operating throughout the country that are currently monitoring the assessments of more than 20,000 patients who are undergoing treatment at home. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said patients who are allowed to be isolated at home are those considered low risk by the CAC. Currently, Johor has the most patients under home quarantine at 6,016, followed by Selangor at 5,258 and Kuala Lumpur at 4,489. So far, Sarawak is the only state without home isolation for positive cases, as the state still has adequate capacity to handle patients. Meanwhile, preliminary data on the cumulative number of patients who have gone to the CAC by state shows Selangor recording the highest number with 24,863 patients, followed by Johor at 16,561, Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya at 8,022, Malacca 3,128 and Pulau Pinang with 1,686 patients.
From in-store to online sales, the swings in demand and product availability, planning and execution, customer expectation and cost control, the changing business trends. On Money Matters with me, Tamina Kaushi, this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3.
On to Datuk Sri Mohammad Najib Razak's 1MDB trial. The Kuala Lumpur High Court on Wednesday heard from a witness that Datuk Sri Najib Razak told his ministers about the alleged donation that he received from Saudi royalty a few months after the inception of One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB. This was revealed by former Cabinet Deputy Secretary General Tan Sri Mazidah Abdul Majid, who took the stand to testify in the former Prime Minister's trial involving the misappropriation of 2.28 billion ringgit of 1MDB funds. The 11th prosecution witness said that during a cabinet meeting on September 8, 2010, Datuk Sri Najib spoke about the donation received under the Yayasan 1MDB. However, Datuk Sri Najib also said the donation, which allegedly came from Prince Sultan bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud, must be kept discreet as per the letter's request. Tan Sri Mazidah also testified that Datuk Sri Najib, who was then Prime Minister and Finance Minister, informed everyone that Yayasan 1MDB could create more corporate social responsibility projects with the donation it received. She added that Datuk Sri Najib also asked the government to be more creative in finding other sources of funds to help the people. On September 26, 2019, former 1MDB Chief Executive Officer Datuk Shahrul Azral Ibrahim Halmi testified that he received 4 checks amounting to $100 million, which were alleged donations from the Saudi royal family to Yayasan 1MDB Trust Fund. He said he received the checks from fugitive businessman Low Tek Jo or Jo Low on September 2010, but the checks were never cashed. The trial continues before Judge Colin Lawrence Sekira on Thursday. Meanwhile, the Kuala Lumpur High Court has also set February 18th to decide whether Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor must enter her defence on 3 charges of corruption related to a 1.25 billion ringgit solar hybrid project. Judge Muhammad Zaini Mazlan set the date after hearing oral submissions from both the prosecution and the defence team today. The prosecution was led by Senior Deputy Public Prosecutor Datuk Sri Gopal Sri Ram and the defence headed by Datuk Jagjit Singh as well as Datuk Akberdin Abdul Kadir. In Wednesday's submissions, Datuk Sri Ram reiterated the prosecution's stance that all the evidence adduced in court fairly supports that Datin Sri Rosmah had sought a bribe through her aide Datuk Rizal Mansor in return for helping Jepat Holdings secure the solar hybrid project. Datuk Akberdin counted that, among other points, Datin Sri Rosmah was not involved in any capacity in helping Jepat Holdings Sendirian Berhad secure the project and did not seek any bribes personally from former Managing Director of Jepat Holdings, Saidi Abang Samsudin. In this trial, Datin Sri Rosmah is accused of receiving a 5 million ringgit bribe and a 1.5 million ringgit bribe from Jepat Holdings and Saidi on December 20th, 2016 and September 7th, 2017 in exchange for helping the company get the 1.25 billion ringgit solar hybrid project. The contract was for an integrated project for the solar photovoltaic hybrid system and for the operation and maintenance of generators for 369 rural schools in Sarawak. Let's take a short break, and when we return, mother and stepfather charged over death of 6-year-old boy. Stay tuned for the details. In Malacca, the mother of 6-year-old Zubaidi Amir Kushairi Abdul Malik, who was found drowned in a water tub last month, and his stepfather were charged in the Aikro Magistrates Court on Wednesday with the murder of the child. 31-year-old Zuraida Atan and her 38-year-old husband Muhammad Fazli Abdul Razak only nodded after the charge was read out to them before Magistrate Mazana Sinin. But no plea was recorded as the case comes under the jurisdiction of the High Court. The couple was charged under Section 302 of the Penal Code and faced the death sentence if found guilty. The duo allegedly committed the offence at a house in Taman Kerubung Jaya at 3:32 p.m. on January 29th. Meanwhile, in the Sessions Court before Judge Nariman Badruddin, the couple pleaded not guilty to abusing the boy, who was Zuraida's son from her previous marriage. According to the charge sheet, which was read out separately to both accused, the couple allegedly exposed the victim in a manner that would likely cause him physical injury at the same place between October 13th, 2020 and January 29th this year. The charge, framed under the Child Act, provides a maximum fine of 20,000 ringgit or imprisonment for up to 20 years or both if found guilty. The judge did not allow them bail and set March 29th for mention. In Kedah, police has foiled an attempt to smuggle about 2.6 tons of Ketum leaves into Kuala Lumpur after a raid at a house in Kampong Chong in Sik on Tuesday night. A mute man and 2 women were also arrested in the 12:15 a.m. operation, conducted by a team from the District Police Narcotics Criminal Investigation Department based on a tip-off from the public. According to Sikh Police Chief Deputy Superintendent Abdul Razak Osman, the trio had just finished packing the Ketum leaves into black plastic bags at the back of the house when police stormed the premises. All of the suspects then attempted to flee but failed as they were already surrounded by policemen. Initial investigation revealed the supply of Ketum leaves were obtained from Kampung Lamdin, Padang Terap, Kampung Kuala Beris and the surrounding areas of Kampung Chong. It was also believed that the Ketum leaves were meant for distribution in the federal capital and could fetch a price of up to 156,000 ringgit. The trio were believed to have been involved in the illegal activity since a year ago. They have been remanded for 4 days beginning today to assist investigations under the Poisons Act for control of import, export, manufacture, sale, supply and use of any psychotropic substance. Throttle levers may have played a role in Srivijaya air crash, says investigators. This and more on the foreign front coming up. On to the foreign front. Over in Indonesia, investigators reported that the Srivijaya airplane that plunged into the sea, killing 62 people last month, had a problem with its throttle control system. This was based on the findings in the preliminary investigation report released by the country's National Transport Safety Commission, KNKT. According to lead investigator Nur Cahyo Utomo, the left engine's throttle lever had moved backward on its own while autopilot was engaged, reducing the power output of that engine just before the jet plunged into the sea. Investigations also found that 2 prior problems had been reported with the auto throttle system that automatically controls engine power based on maintenance logs, but the issue was rectified on January 5th, 4 days before the crash. Apart from the auto throttle, the plane reportedly had problems on December 25th with the first officer's airspeed indicator, but it was replaced on January 4th. The preliminary investigation also showed that the plane's autopilot was disengaged before the crash. United States senators voted on Tuesday to proceed with Donald Trump's impeachment trial on a charge of inciting the deadly assault on the Capitol on January 6, claiming that it is fully constitutional. This comes after the Senate viewed a graphic video of the Capitol attack. The Senate voted 56-44 to proceed with its trial of the former president, an historic first, rejecting largely along party lines his defense lawyers' argument that a president cannot face trial after leaving the White House. Democrats hope to disqualify Trump from ever again holding public office.
Think about it. What will the January exception mean to future generations if you grant it? I'll show you.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
The video presented by the team of 9 House of Representatives Democrats interspersed images of the Capitol violence with clips of Trump's incendiary speech to a crowd of supporters moments earlier, urging them to fight like hell to overturn his November 3rd election defeat to Democrat Joe Biden. The trial will resume on Wednesday when the Democratic managers will have 8 hours to present the case for convicting Trump. Both sides will have 2 days to make their arguments before the Senate considers possible witnesses before a final vote.
This is about our Constitution.
Time was running out to save dozens of people trapped inside a tunnel 3 days after a devastating flash flood likely caused by a glacier burst in India's Himalayan north. Officials said on Wednesday more than 170 people were still missing after a barrage of water and debris hurtled with terrifying speed and powered down a valley on Sunday morning, sweeping away bridges, roads and hitting 2 hydroelectric plants. According to authorities, so far, 32 bodies have been found and it may take days for more bodies to be recovered under the tons of rocks and other debris and the thick blanket of grey mud. Out of the 32 found, 25 of the bodies were yet to be identified. It is understood that the main focus of the massive rescue operation since Sunday is at the Tapuvan tunnel, where an estimated 35 workers are believed to have been trapped. Spokesman for the Border Police, Vivek Pandey, said the biggest concern is about the workers getting hypothermia if they are still alive. And now let's take a look at the highlights in Malaysia's main newspapers for Thursday, February 11th. Headlining the news Straits Time is the reopening of businesses, which is greeted by much relief by an 80-year-old retailer whose arts and antiques shop in Pulau Pinang has been badly affected by the MCO. Berita Harian focuses on the Employees Provident Fund, EPF, reviewing the terms of ICNR following feedback from contributors requesting for more flexible terms. A report on fake cosmetic products produced in poor and unhygienic condition is one of the top stories featured on Harian Metro's front page. Finally, taking the front page of the Malaysian Reserve is an article on event organisers feeling left behind as the economy reopens. Don't forget to get your copies or subscribe to the online newspaper. Now, ahead of Chinese New Year, divers performed an underwater dragon and lion dance inside an aquarium at the SeaWorld amusement park in the Indonesian capital of Jakarta, putting a modern-day twist on the traditional Lunar New Year performance. Let's take a look at the visual as we wrap Nightline. I'm Norzie. Thanks for tuning in and stay safe, Malaysia.